I am traveling to visit my mom in Kentucky for Christmas, and then I'm going to Montana with you, Amy. My routine is completely thrown off, but there's one thing that I am maintaining. And that's Ritual.
Ritual is an obsessively researched multivitamin. Their essential multis have the nutrients most of us don't get enough from our food, especially me, all in their clean and absorbable forms. There's no shady additives or ingredients that do more harm than good.
I'm currently taking their essentials for women 18 plus, which contains 9 key nutrients in 2 delayed release capsules designed for optimal absorption per day.
We take their Symbiotic Plus gut health every evening before bed, and that minty freshness actually is like a little treat before I go to sleep.
Get to go to bed fresh. Ritual's essential third-party tested for heavy metals and clean label project certified.
Their products are HSA, FSA eligible with a seamless checkout experience, so you can even save when you shop with your pre-tax dollars.
Instead of striving for perfect health, aim for supportive foundational health.
Our listeners get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/BookTok.
That's ritual.com/BookTok, BookTalk, for 25% off your first month. Hey there, we're Book Talk for Book Talk with Jac and Amy, your book besties who take the novels you love seriously. This is Jac.
And I'm Amy, and together we mix smart analysis with fandom fun. So let's get into it.
This is our Breadcrumbs and Broomsticks episode where we read your thoughts and interpretations as well as discuss breadcrumbs from chapters 57 through 68 of Sarah J. Maas's third Throne of Glass novel, Heir of Fire.
Before we dive in, don't forget Spilt. Spoilers, perspective and interpretation, language, and themes.
If you'd like more information, please go back and listen to the start of Tuesday's episode. And if you want to submit your thoughts for our Breadcrumbs and Broomsticks episode in the future, make sure to follow us on Instagram where we collect listener submissions. This is a weird episode because normally we record Breadcrumbs and Broomsticks with the full episode, but it was freaking long yesterday. We had shit to do. We had so much shit, and I have full faith that this is going to be really long, too.
Oh, great.
Yay, more talking between the two of us.
Yay. All right, let's get into some breadcrumbs. But do we need to take a sip first?
I always need to take a sip.
All right, in chapter 57, when Aelin starts telling her story to Rowan, she says, "Once upon a time, she said to him, to the world, to herself, in a land long since burned to ash, there lived a young princess who loved her kingdom very much." And that's just a recurring theme for future books. We're going to hear it a lot from here on out.
Does she say this multiple times, or is this the only time she says it?
No, she says it multiple times. I think Kingdom of Ash starts with this.
Oh, well, that's just heartbreaking and allowed.
Okay.
Yeah, in chapter 58, Adian and Kale talk to Ren about him leaving Rifthold. Quote, "I have people on the inside of the castle," Ren said, aka Sorsha. She about to die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since this is at the end of the episode, she has just died. But when Ren says it, she's about to die. Also in chapter 58, word about Aelin's return spreads across the land. Quote, "Across the White Fangs and the runes, all the way to the Western Wastes and the red-haired queen who ruled from a crumbling castle, to the deserted peninsula and the oasis fortress of the silent assassins." A breadcrumb referring back to the events of Assassin's Blade.
Which we read before this book. That's what we always said. We always said.
Did we?
You know that classic phrase.
We said publication order.
We can't help that we're right, that it's publication order. All right, in chapter 59, when telling Selena about the word keys, Maeve also reveals more information about the Valg. Quote, "There are many different races of Valg. They are ruled by the princes who themselves are made of shadow and despair and hatred and have no bodies to occupy save for those that they infiltrate. One race of the Valg are the spiders. Stygian spiders.
Stygian. It is spelled Stygian.
Am I
Yes,
wrong?
you're not.
Am I wrong?
Still in chapter 59, Maeve also mentions, quote, I once witnessed an entire legion of Fae warriors devoured by 6 of them within hours. Did anyone else think of Asteri from Crescent City? I know there were technically 7, but they eventually have 6, and we don't know what the timeline is.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Don't pretend like we do.
What if the warping time? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, warping time. Okay? I agree. I'm not making fun of you. I'm agreeing with you.
Thank you.
In chapter 59 still, because there's a lot here, Maeve talks about the mark on Aelin's forehead. Quote, but before that, it was nothing. Brannon was born with the bastard's mark, and the mark every unclaimed, unwanted child possessed, marking them as nameless, nobody. Each of Brannon's heirs, despite their noble lineage, has since been graced with the nameless mark. Nameless is my price. Hey, I would have the mark. Sort of.
Sort of. You're right.
But now it would be erased.
Yeah, if it works that way. Still in chapter 59, Maeve explains why Aelin's mark showed up during the duel with Cain. Quote, perhaps your blood merely recognized the presence of the Valg and was trying to tell you something. Maybe perhaps that the king of Otterlin is Valg.
Yeah. And finally, in chapter 59, Maeve trying to get information out of Aelin, quote, not for all the world, Aelin, but what about for Prince Rowan? Because they're mates. And Maeve knows that because she's faked the whole mate thing.
Yes, and she is using that information against them.
I would too. I'm not going to pretend like if I was evil, I'd be really good at it.
Yeah.
So would you. Oh, you'd be terrifying.
In chapter 60, Aelin mocks Maeve for wanting Athral's ring. Quote, but who would have thought you were so sentimental? Maeve's lips thinned. Give it to me. Maybe Aelin should have thought about the fact that Maeve wanted it so bad.
What's up with the ring again?
The ring makes you resistant to Valg possession.
Yeah, she should have thought about that more.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be sentimental.
No, not at all.
You know what? Rowan was worth it, though. Was he? I saw a clip. Someone did art of, and like underneath was the scene from Queen of Shadow, and it's when Rowan shows up at Rifthold, and Aelin's wearing her little nightgown, and he's like, "Don't be wearing a nightgown." And she was like, "Well, if I'm going to scandalize you, what's your favorite color, so that I can scandalize you in your favorite color?" And he says gold, and she was like, "Tough luck for you. I don't have gold." And then it's Rowan stared at the ceiling for hours thinking how he was shit out of luck. And I was like, oh, I'm excited about that.
I am too.
Yeah.
I do remember that being funny.
Yeah. In chapter 60, Maeve disappears and Aelin sees, quote, only a white barn owl flapping off into the moonlit night. It's significant because that is Maeve, right? No,
the owl is a fae that keeps healing Maeve. Like, it's the person that Maeve depends on to stay alive, essentially. That's what I remember.
There's a lot of important birds in this book.
Yes.
Rowan, owl.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. It's been a long time since.
Pommel.
So many birds.
Squirrels don't get enough screen time. That's all I have to say.
Still in chapter 60, Aelin thinks about the design Rowan made for her tattoo. Quote, they were so perfect, it was as if he'd reached into her soul to find them.
I wonder why.
Because they're mates.
Yeah, that's why. Also in chapter 60, while drinking Aelin's blood, quote, for a heartbeat, something lightning bright snapped through her and then settled, a thread binding them together and tighter with each pull Rowan took of her blood. 3 mouthsful, his canines pricking against her skin, and then he lifted his head, his lips shining with her blood, his eyes glinting and alive and full of steel. The mate bond is a mate. It's a mate.
It's a
mate. I mean, we see that in ACOTAR, right? Is like whenever there's like gold and light and stuff, there's, and even with Crescent City, there was imagery there too.
Yep. There were a lot more breadcrumbs that I didn't copy and paste from other chapters, but it's a lot of repetition. So we're skipping to chapter 68. Talking about her game plan, Aelin says, quote, "I will call in every favor, every debt owed to Selena Sardothian, to my parents, to my bloodline." And then she looked toward the sea, toward home. "And then I'm going to rattle the stars." I just gave myself goosebumps. Mostly because it's SJM's writing and it's a powerful
I'm really
moment.
good reading at the reading this.
I did a great job, guys. That is everyone in Assassin's Blade and everything in between to which Aelin is referring.
I mean, she even falls through the stars and Rhys pushes her a little bit farther. Like she rattles the fucking stars and Rhys
Good point.
typically rattles her
Yeah.
through the stars. But
Good
yeah,
point.
I mean, it's kind of funny because like that just summarized the last bit of the last book.
Yeah.
Like right there. No, you don't need anything more. You figure you just got to the, Kingdom of Ash.
That's the summary.
Yeah, that's the summary. And then 13 witches or 12 witches die.
It's the worst part.
That's going to destroy us. That's going to wreck us. Finally, Amy can cry too.
The amount of sobbing I did.
If you guys never listened to our Crescent City season, there's a part where, I mean, this is the spoiler episode, so we've warned you. When Lahaba dies, I lose it. And Amy and I were recording together in person when we still recorded in person together. And I just was sobbing the entire time. And Amy was trying to get us through while laughing at us. It was impressive multitasking on her part.
I did a great job.
You did a great job. You made sure to read it and laugh at me.
Yep.
Okay. So we have many thoughts. I mean, did we even finish last week's comments that when we were reading through?
I think
comments?
I skipped one. Let me double check.
And then we have DMs and we have so many things.
I'm not going to do it because it's about Rowan punching.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we posted on stories being like, hey, so end of the book. Do you see anything differently? And we have some interesting responses. So let's go through some of the prompts that people put in, and then we'll go through some DMs because people sent some messages.
Okay. All right. So do you want me to start?
Yeah. You go from the top. I'll go from the bottom.
All right. Madison says, "I really started to question the writing and intentions of SJM." I mean, we did too. we sure did.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a lesson in writing style and preference. And I think that this spoke to our personal preference, not necessarily what's good or bad. I mean, this is a best-selling book. So what the fuck do we know? SJM clearly. But at the same time, the second part is just so good.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's best-selling because the second part is so good and Manon. Everything else, I think, look, not every book is perfect. Most books are not perfect. It's okay that it is not a perfect book.
Yeah.
And, I mean, taking into consideration she wrote Assassin's Blade, this is probably technically her fourth book. And her craft is not perfected, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That because we do a literary analysis, we're going to call it out.
Also, there's been plenty of people who said that they didn't find full connection to this book.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe we called it because someone, Jane, says, Rowan apathy fully vindicated. Thank you. Manon supremacy confirmed.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, there's reasons.
I think this book is very divisive.
I agree.
Because a lot of people were either, I love this book, this is where I start reading the series from, forget everything else before it. Or everyone's like, this book is a drag. Get me to Queen of Shadows. So I think it's okay that it's divisive. Obviously, we've been divisive as well in our discussion of it. And that's okay. Because you know what? We're talking about literature. And what a privilege we have to do that.
Amen to that. Yeah, I mean, if you listen to episode 2, 3, right, compared to episode 7, 8, 9, 10, those are completely two different women reading two different books.
Yeah, absolutely. Jessica says, "I don't think we're supposed to like Rowan in this book, LOL."
Thank you.
I think, I mean.
Oh, that's what she learned. Oh,
yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's what she learned.
Yeah, that's what she learned.
I hear I'm like, yeah, I agree. Oh, the class is reciting back to us what we said. Yeah, you're right, Jessica.
Yeah. Thanks, Jessica. I'm glad you listened.
Me too. Jess says, I always see things differently after listening. There's always a little stuff, a little things I see things differently after we talk. I see things differently after you and I talk versus when I read versus when I take notes versus when you and I talk.
Yeah, it's a different experience each time. That's what makes the process of doing this podcast so enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Because every stage of it is different. Like the experience and the thoughts are different. It's not like I'm regurgitating the same thing. I mean, except for the Rowan punch. But like, there's always something new to learn or think about. And I love that.
I mean, the amount of times they'll be like, you or I both are like, oh, I like that. Or I didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll build off of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that comes to a good book, is to be able to play off and build off and continue to have different ideas. And, SJM achieved that. There's plenty of books that you wouldn't have that. I don't know. We call it our jam sesh. Like, when band people, instrument people come together and they start instrumenting together.
Jam.
Yeah, that's us, but like with literature.
Marie says, it made me like the book more than when I initially read it.
Yay!
Wow.
Yay!
Wow. That is not everyone's had that feedback, and that's okay. I'm glad you had that experience, Marie.
It made me like the book more.
Yeah, I mean, there's only been one book we've talked about that made me like the book less, and that was Hosab. Otherwise, I mean, I didn't like Hosab as much as you did.
I don't know if I liked Hosab after as much, but right now I blocked it all out, and I remember I liked it now.
You liked the book before we analyzed. After we analyzed, you're like, well, damn, I guess I don't like this book anymore.
I've blocked it out now, so I like it again.
But like, the joy of literary analysis is that when it hits, it hits.
Yeah.
And it makes it super exciting. And there are parts of Heir of Fire that are so impactful because of what SJM is doing that are better than Crown of Midnight or Throne of Glass.
Yeah, I think Throne of Glass is a classic. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great beginning, middle, end. It has it's a very well structured book. Crown of Midnight, I have a lot of issues with for many obvious reasons. I like it, but, I have some things I could call out. I ended up walking away liking Heir of Fire much more than I anticipated. One, going into it, two, based off of like the first, and it's like, none of the things that we said at the beginning were reasons that we don't like it. That's the funny thing is it's like listing off the issues or some of the things that we found potentially might resonate differently and resonated differently with us. It wasn't a dock against liking it less. Her being drunk at the beginning, from a literary analysis point of view, I question it. I want to know what's going on. Why is it not working? Like, how did we get here? Just because I feel like it was a tool to use to age her up, just because I feel like it doesn't really make sense with her character, didn't make me like it less. It just was a thing that I saw.
Yeah. And again, we're looking at this as if I were a writer, what would I do differently? And some of the things we talked about that really were divisive among our own listeners, it's just a matter of, preference or what we think makes good writing or not good writing. And that's our personal opinion. We're not trying to tell anyone to not like it. We're just saying,
oh, not at all.
As a writer, I wouldn't do this.
And it's also the way that we do the analysis. Like, you can do an analysis in different ways. If we wanted to sit here and do an analysis from a way of why everything is perfection and makes sense, then we could do that. But I don't find that to be as much fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mrs. Lynn Scott says, it really made me examine how I thought about Rowan and the building of the romance. I mean, we will not list the incident that happened, but Rowan is a huge part of this, knowing that he is her mate, knowing that he has such a journey, and knowing that for me, when I originally read the Throne of Glass series. It was a fever dream. I don't have memory of it. But one thing I do remember is just being like, kind of meh about Rowan. And when I put that out there, a lot of people confirmed, like, yeah, he's just kind of like a nice accessory to Aelin. I enjoyed him, the second half of the book, and their dynamic way more than I anticipated I would.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have gotten there if I hadn't nitpicked the ever-living fuck out of him.
Yeah. But that's what we do, and that's what we've done every season with somebody.
We tear everyone. We pick someone, we tear them down.
We're consistent, guys.
Always. Here's the thing about New Year's resolutions. Nearly 80% fail by February. And it's not because people lack willpower, it's because they lack data.
Things like leptin resistance, thyroid dysfunction, chronic inflammation, or hormone imbalances, these hidden issues can derail even your best efforts to get healthier or feel better when you realize what's going on.
This year, my focus is really getting my blood work in line, especially when it comes to heart health. That's been a big issue for me, and I know I need to go back and get tested in April. That's exactly why I chose Function. It's the only health platform giving you access to over 160 biomarkers, covering everything from hormones and metabolism to heart health, inflammation, stress markers, and toxins.
You can even add MRI and chest CT imaging, and it's all tracked in one secure place over time. It's the kind of comprehensive view of your health that most people never get to access.
There's a reason why top health leaders are all behind Function. When you stop guessing and start measuring, everything changes. Your health goals actually have a foundation to build on. So this year, don't rely on guesswork. Get your data, track what matters, and make resolutions based on your biology.
Own your health for $365 a year. That's $1 a day. Learn more and join using our link. Visit functionhealth.com/booktalk or use the code BookTalk25, that's BOOKTALK 25, for a $25 credit toward your membership. One of the things that was really hard to learn about banking as a young 20-something was how to avoid overdraft fees and building enough credit to actually have a credit card. There are so many ways Chime is making banking stress-free. They don't charge you fees for banking with them, and they provide you overdraft coverage. And on top of that, you can build credit without the worry about a regular credit card.
There's a reason why Chime is rated 5 stars by USA Today for customer service, because they offer real humans 24/7. I can't tell you the amount of times I have called my bank crying because I cannot stop talking to the robot who cannot help me.
I personally feel like every 20-something-year-old out there needs a Chime card. It's a great way to build credit history with your own money that you're actually earning, and you get rewarded every day.
And for those of us who might not be 20-something, still highly recommend it because of the no annual fees, no interest, no strings attached, and when you qualify for direct deposits, you get 1.5% cash back on eligible Chime card purchases. That's good for anyone.
It's good for everyone.
Chime is not just smarter banking. It is the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today.
It just takes a few minutes to sign up. Head to chime.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK.
That's chime.com/booktalk.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services, a secured Chime Visa credit card, and MyPay line of credit provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. MyPay eligibility requirements apply, and credit limit ranges $20 to $500. Optional services and products may have fees or charges. See chime.com/fees info. Advertised annual percentage yield with Chime Plus status only. Otherwise, 1.00% APY applies. No min balance required. Chime card on-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score. Results may vary. See chime.com for details and applicable terms.
All right. Oh, yeah, you read one.
Lauren says definitely confirmed some thoughts, which we don't know what those thoughts are, but I think
it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Sierra, you put into words why Heir of Fire always felt mid to me. I wasn't doing analysis. If the ending hadn't hit as hard as it did for me, would I still deem this as kind of still mid? Like, that's the thing, right? Like, I kind of have to take an average where, for me personally, the first part of the book, other than Manon, other than some other things, doesn't really make it as interesting for me as the second half did. So then I have to ask myself, does the second half make up for the first half?
Yeah.
For me, it did. And at the same time, had the first half been as impactful as the second half, this would have been God tier level for me.
Right. Yeah. And I think that gets to what another listener says. Joe says, I actually really liked the book when I read it, so much so I reread it right after Kingdom of Ash, which I love that for you. And I think, honestly, my experience reading the book was so different from listening to the audiobook that I wish I had read it first. Because I think my opinion would have started out differently, because the second half of the book hit so hard when I read it.
Yeah.
But when I listened to the book, the first part was so difficult that I tuned out the second part. And that's a personal problem. That's a me problem. And I'm really glad that we took the time to read the book, because I have a really new appreciation
Yeah.
for what SJM accomplished in Heir of Fire.
Yeah. I respect how much the ending, I appreciate what she did with how much she succeeded with this ending, with the
Yeah.
part 2, with how much she nailed certain beats with certain storylines, certain dynamics, like with how much it really blossomed. Truly impressed, especially for me as a reader. She's working at a deficit
Right.
at that point. Me as a reader going into Heir of Fire, I'm excited from Crown of Midnight. I'm excited from Assassin's Blade because I totally read that before this. And I'm coming in excited. And, I'm like, then I'm kind of like wah wah in the first half, little, it's a little mid. And then for her to then,
Not only turn it around.
yeah, but make me like it, you've actually had to work harder to make me like this book because I was already like, about the book.
Yeah.
So again, imagine if the whole thing was at that level. That would be, that's Kingdom of Ash probably at that point. But it's impressive. It's just very impressive that she did that.
Yeah. I think it's so much harder to turn around a book halfway through and make someone like it from a place of not liking it versus a place of not liking it to it was okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so she worked doubly hard
Yeah.
in the second half of this book, where I think if she had put the same level of effort in Crown of Midnight in the second half of that book, Crown of Midnight would be spectacular.
Yeah.
I think Heir of Fire makes up for where Crown of Midnight struggled.
Yeah, I agree. So now I'm going to read, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't want anyone to, I don't know. I don't think our listeners are that dedicated enough for us to go be like, how dare you say
Dox
anything?
someone.
Yeah, but just in case, I don't want anyone to show this person hate because honestly, I respect someone who is going to give us honest feedback. So their feedback was, initially, they said, I had to stop listening because it was so negative about my favorite book/characters. To elaborate, I have loved your other seasons and I appreciate that you tried to be balanced in your analysis, but you came so aggressively for these characters in this story that it was hard to listen to, and I kept trying to abandon episodes. So it sometimes felt like you were looking for the, quote, hot take and then doubling down and tripling down on it. It just made me sad. I keep trying. Maybe when you're not doing a series I love so deeply, it will be easier. Now, I told her, I appreciate the honest feedback. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was like, and I did, I explained to her, and we'll talk a little bit more here as to like what we do, why we do. But truly, I am not here. If someone is not vibing with it, I am not going to try to convince you just because I don't want to force someone to listen to they don't like or they aren't connecting with. But now we shall talk to you listeners about where we come from on this side.
Yeah. And, my heart goes out to the people who struggle to listen to us this season. If I knew who everyone was, I'd be like, start listening about halfway through episode 7. It gets
honestly,
better.
Episode 6 starts to really turn.
And maybe we need to put a disclaimer out there, like for all y'all who are going to listen to Heir of Fire, if you haven't yet, it's hard the first 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And Again, I really appreciate the feedback. Jack and I have talked a lot about what was different this season.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is the timing of when we record, the social media cycles,
Mm-hmm.
when we're getting comments from everybody. Because remember, we're recording 3-4 weeks ahead of you guys listening, of you guys giving us feedback. And, we got a lot of comments over the last week saying, please fucking move on
From the punch.
Rowan punch.
Yeah. Could you guys, and this is like an interesting timeline thing where first I posted a video about the punch. We hadn't even started talking about it. And then it blew up. And then it was like, whoa, let's talk about that. And then we did a Rowan Basher Defend episode and we had to poll people on that to get it. And then we talked about it, which was another like, I did double down because I was like, how the hell are you guys defending this? Right. So then you have that. And then it goes into the actual season. And so at that point, we're fired up. I'm ready to talk about it more because at this point, I've actually like read the whole thing and remember it more. And then, so yeah, we talk about it. And so in our mind, we're like, okay, we're moving on. But then people are commenting. And so now we're going to talk about their comments. And so it ended up being a much longer news cycle on a subject that we shouldn't have talked as much about. We said our feelings, we said our piece, but we've now learned that, understand news cycles. We don't have to respond every time, which is a weird balance, right? Because when an episode comes out and listeners talk about it, we want to be able to talk about it.
Right.
But maybe we save those for, again, special breadcrumbs episodes rather than bringing it back up in the middle of an analysis.
Yeah, I agree. One thing we've learned from this process is, especially on the Defender Bash, because we did one for Kale, we did one for Rowan. Kale, we were able to do, I think, successfully because we'd gotten through 2 books with Kale before we did that episode. With Rowan,
I don't know.
We had not read Heir of Fire or analyzed Heir of Fire. I mean,
we'd read it, but we hadn't started the analysis.
We hadn't started the analysis. And if I could do things over again, I wouldn't have recorded that episode until we had finished recording episode 10 of this season, because I think I would have said a lot of different things. And that's a lesson for us and how we do what we do, when we do what we do. And I take that to heart. And the other thing, is we really want to make sure you guys feel heard. And so when you send us comments, we want to engage in that conversation. And that perpetuated something that was very uncomfortable and unhappy for a lot of people. And I think that is fair.
Yeah. For the final point is the talking negatively about characters. That's one where Amy and I have talked about it a bunch. I don't think it's going to change where characters naturally start in a bad place. We build them up.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how that plays out. And that's just the nature of a good book with character development, right? That's just the nature of they start one way, they end another way. Look at how Manon started, how she ended. Kale, Dorian. I can understand someone coming in and not really liking how we're talking about characters, especially if it's a character that really spoke to them and resonated with them. My question is, when did that character speak to you? By the time you were done with the series? Because that's not who. Rowan at the end of Kingdom of Ash is not the Rowan at the beginning of this book.
Right. And Rowan at the end of Heir of Fire is not the Rowan that started at the beginning of Heir of Fire. And we've done this cycle and pissed off a lot of people in every season.
Yeah.
And it is not personal. And I know it's hard to not take it personally.
Yeah.
Because
these characters are personal to us.
Yeah, exactly. And, for a lot of people, these characters are what saved them from X experience in their life. And I completely respect that. And I hope any of our listeners who struggle with, when we're negative, when we're doubling down on something, I hope you remember our focus is on the craft and what the author achieved with their craft. I know it doesn't feel like it in the moment, but I hope we never mean personal harm.
Yeah.
Plot twist, it's an ad break, but we promise it is still canon.
New year, Amy, and that means new fashion.
I am so excited for my new Uptown sneakers. They are so cute, and they are going to make me the hottest thing on this town.
And you're already the hottest thing on this town. However, your competition is here because I have my VI Very Intelligent Dress Ramona heels. And what I love about these heels is that, yes, they're a timeless style, but they are seriously comfortable. I really love wearing this really classic pump with my jeans. It's just enough of a heel for me and my jeans, and I don't look clunky with my boots. Now I actually look sleek and stylish, and
That's how I feel about my new Uptown sneakers. They're covered in suede, and the cushioning is contoured for support so that I can wear them on my commute. If I take the train, I can wear them at work, and I'm going to be wearing these every Saturday too.
I can't wait because Vionic has their Gabby sneakers that's launching in January. And when it comes to Vionic, when it comes to their styles and their shoes, they always make sure to put comfort first with their motion technology. And that's honestly what sets them apart. Because we do need comfy feet. I can't just look good, I have to feel good too. Vionic offers a 30-day guarantee when it comes to your shoes. Wear them, love them, or return them for a full refund within 30 days.
Use code BookTok at checkout for 15% off your entire order at VionicShoes.com when you log into your account. It's a one-time use only, so get all those new styles.
Vionic Shoes, wearable well-being for your feet.
I firmly believe in New Year, New Me, and that requires a wardrobe change.
It's actually cold in California. I am so excited because Quince has all of our staples covered. From soft Mongolian cashmere sweaters that feel like designer pieces without the markup, to 100% silk tops and skirts for easy dressing up, to perfectly cut denims for everyday wear.
I purposefully gave my partner my wool coat so I can get a Quince Italian wool coat because they are gorgeous. They're beautifully tailored, they're soft to the touch, and they're built to last years, not just one season.
That's because the quality shows in every detail. You can seriously tell with the stitch, with the fit, with the fabric. Every piece is thoughtfully designed.
Like everything from Quince, each piece is made with premium materials in ethical, trusted factories, which I love. Each piece is priced far below the cost of other luxury brands.
Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada.
That's QUINCE.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, to get free shipping and 365 days returns.
I am your host, Stassi Schroeder. Welcome to Tell Me Lies, the official podcast. What's the most unhinged thing of season 3?
Steven, because he's so evil.
I do think he is misunderstood.
You see everyone face consequences. It's intoxicating.
The writers just know how to trick you.
There's always a twist in this show. It's nothing you would expect.
Tell Me Lies, the official podcast, January 6th, and stream the new season of Tell Me Lies, January 13th on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
I'd say out of all of the characters we've ever done an analysis of, and I mean all the series, Nahimi is the only one that I'm just like, nah, I don't need her, and that's more of, she's just so mean. And, there's a lot of other reasons behind that. But like every other character, we show that arc and we grow. And I think like, especially when we do Silver Flames, that's going to be a hard one because I know people love Nesta. And you and I love Nesta.
Yeah, and there are people who don't like Nesta. I think Nesta will also be divisive. I think Cassian will be divisive.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to season 2 and listen to Mist and Fury, we were harsh on Rhys and we got so much shit for it.
Yeah, I think the reason why people liked ACOTAR season 1 is because we were pointing out all the little hidden things that SJM did to warn us about Tamlin. And Tamlin's an easy one. We all unitedly don't like what he did to Farah. So it was an easy one to be like, actually, here are all these clues. And so here we are doing this character analysis and everyone's like, yeah. And then we do an analysis of Rhys where people were like Rhys and they're like, fuck you. And I'm like, well, okay, give us a chance. Okay.
I think the other thing is, even with Tamlin, we had some Tamlin apologists.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't happy with us either, especially when we posted on social media.
Oh,
and you know what?
She was mad at us. There was one woman who did not like us and we said, you can be on the podcast. Listen to our episodes first, though.
Yeah.
Here they are. And like, we were ready. We're like, yeah, actually, if you want to, like, I think this is a good conversation. Listen to the episodes. We'll have you on. I mean, it was the first season. No one was listening. Like, we're like, fine,
Yeah.
whatever. Never followed up with us.
Yeah. We had harsh opinions about Lucian. We talked to Gabriel. We have completely different opinions about Lucian based on the insight from Gabriel and how he played that character in the graphic audio. You know, I think I'm not apologizing for what we do, but I'm apologizing for unintentional harm because we want listening to our podcast to be an enjoyable experience. But also, I'm perfectly comfortable with the fact that we might challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want you to hurt because of it.
Yeah, we never want anyone to hurt. It's also, I think what you and I are very flexible with, and I hope that other people can feel that same flexibility, is our ability to shift our opinions on characters. Like, if anyone has listened to us, like, Lucian is a great example. Both of us were like, what the fuck is up with him? We talked to Gabriel. We're like, I love that character.
Yeah.
There is not a single character that we are like, that is my ride or die. I will never change my opinion. No, they're horrible or they're great or whatever. Like, even Tamlin, we're like, I'm open for a redemption arc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no.
I'm hoping for one.
Yeah, but then if he ended up like murdering someone, then I'd be like, all right, I don't need it.
Yeah.
So like, I think there's having a fluidity is important when it comes to literature, because especially literature when it's done, because it's, again, open to interpretation and it's open for series. There's more books to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was like, there's other comments that we want to read.
Sure. And I can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the one last thing I'll say on this topic, and then we'll move on, is what is the author's intention? Is the author's intention to make me hate this character and then make me do a 180 and go through that roller coaster journey on this book? I think the answer is yes. I think that is the case for Rowan in Heir of Fire. And SJM did it. If that was her intention, she succeeded.
And to underplay that is to undermine her writing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But again, you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. And I don't mean that in like a shitty, well, you don't have to listen to it way, but like in a, I never want anyone to listen to us and feel uncomfortable. So we'll adapt to the parts that we feel like are important to adapt to, like timing and topics of conversation. And we will continue the aspects that we feel like is important. And that is challenging characters when we've identified what SJM is trying to do with this character.
Yeah.
Like, does Adian want to fuck Aelin? Why are we starting there? And why are we starting there? Because his journey is learning that he is not going to sleep with his cousin.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into the DMs.
This message is from Tira. I was just sitting here wondering, do you think the reason Heir of Fire is so janky and feeling rushed with all the storylines is that originally, when SJM started the series, it could go on a whole different way and she had to rework things? The thought just hit me randomly, mostly with Rowan. I thought I heard somewhere that SJM said her original plan was Kale and Aelin. I can't find where I heard it, so take it with a grain of salt. Maybe that's why Rowan doesn't feel like a love interest. Do we only see as we go through it now that it's Rowan because we know the outcome of the relationship? Sorry for my word vomit. Love you guys so much. The pod has helped me read in a whole new way.
Yay.
Thanks, Tira. Yeah, I mean, I personally think some of my issues with part 1 of Heir of Fire is probably because SJM had to do a lot of reworking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why it's not as polished, because so much was changed. And she probably took the original plot line and added the romantic elements to it, which is why it felt like beats were hit, but there was no emotion. In my opinion, part 2 is a product of reworking part 1. I bet part 2 is completely new.
Yeah.
When she started reworking Heir of Fire. That's just my personal opinion. I know we have talked about the fact that it was supposed to be first Dorian and Aelin, and then she changed it to Kale and Aelin, and then Rowan and Aelin. So, like, there's so much we don't know about the evolution of this.
I wonder, can you log into Publishers Marketplace and can you see what the original book deal was? So it is tricky because, like, in SJM's original conception of this book, Rowan was supposed to be the sage guide person, and then it shifted at one point or another. There was times it was supposed to be Dorian, and other times it was supposed to be Kale. Like, things ebb and flow, and that's kind of natural for any book where you're just kind of like, I thought it was going to be this way, and then it ended up being something else. Does that come in? And I'm having Amy look to see if we can find what the original book deal was, because I think that'll speak volumes. A lot of times authors, when they write their first book, you'll notice that it ends in a way that it could end that way, or it could go into a second book. I think the best example of that is like ACOTAR. It ends in a way where, yes, there's a lot of questions that are open, but it is Feyre and Tamlin walking into the sunset also, because you don't know what's your book deal that you're going to have after that. And what was SJM's original book deal? Because I highly doubt it was a 7-book deal right off the bat for a new author with their debut novel. So at what point does she realize that she has more time to develop? At what point does she realize that it has shifted? And when does she talk to her editor saying, hey, I have more books like to put out for this series?
Mm-hmm.
Were you able to find anything?
I found a deal, but it's dated 2016, so I think that was after. What year was Heir of Fire published? 2014?
Maybe. Let's see. So the original Throne of Glass was acquisition in 2010 for the first book and the 2 subsequent novels in 2012, forming the initial trilogy.
Oh, okay. So in January of 2012, Sarah, she was listed as Sarah Mass at the time.
Oh.
That's why I couldn't find her. So Sarah Mass got a second book deal for this second book in the Throne of Glass series and only got a 2-book deal at the time.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that the author is going to make it wrap at 2 books. They could be like, I'm going to have an epic cliffhanger and then hope for the best.
Yeah.
That people will want to continue reading it. But it does set a certain precedence if Sarah Mass didn't know what was going to be happening with her characters. And, here she is writing and she has this original idea, but then all of a sudden it just keeps going and growing. So it does change. And I think Heir of Fire is guessing, and I think a safe guess, that things really took a shift in her mind.
Yeah, because technically Heir of Fire is book 4. I know we said book 3 all season, but it's book 4. And that deal didn't happen until February 2014. She got a 3-book deal for books 4, 5, and 6 at the time.
Oh.
So Heir of Fire is definitely the product of the fact that either Sarah J. Maas was like, I can't finish this series in 3 books, or, she decided along the way, story's got to change. It's not going to work out with Kale. I bet she wrote Assassin's Blade because she knew she couldn't finish the series in 3 books. So her 3rd book in her first deal was...
Well, we know Assassin's Blade was published on her website first.
That's true. That is true.
Now, is it the same Assassin's Blade as what we got published? You know what I mean? That's different. Could it have been more quick, short stories? We don't know if it's the full length. Again, calling it a novella is bullshit. It's over 400 pages.
Yeah.
But was it 400 pages on her website? I actually highly doubt that. I highly doubt she would publish a full book for free on her website like that.
I agree.
So it is interesting because Heir of Fire, although we kind of call it the initial trilogy, we lump it with Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight. It is very much part of the next part of the next series. It bridges. And that's why I think it kind of is awkward, because the first half is trying to bridge the gap between the first 2 books, arguably the first 3 books, into the rest of the series. So you're naturally going to have a little bit of growing pains or just awkward bridging.
Yeah, I agree. I think, to your point, I think Heir of Fire was supposed to be the end of the series. And I think she quickly realized it wasn't going to be, started publishing Assassin's Blade online on her website, while she reworked Heir of Fire so that she could bridge the gap and get another book deal for books for The Queen of Shadow, Empire of Storms, and Tower of Dawn.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, I'm going to read Alexandra. This is, did you see anything differently? She says, yes, the analysis helped to identify why I've always felt like this book was a bit off or lacking, and why the typical forced proximity training montage wasn't giving what it usually does. Example, The Court of Silver Flames. There are too many point of views and too much happening off screen despite the real good key scenes, the scar reveal, burnout, etc. Yeah, it's a trope that all within itself is, a nice trope, training sequence, forced proximity.
Yeah, I mean, on the topic of too much happening off screen, despite the really good key scenes, that is such a hard balance for a writer to get right. And I don't know how some get it right and how some don't, because you have to make deliberate choices. And sometimes they write a scene and then it gets cut in the editing process. And so you have to summarize it because it's now no longer on the page. That is talent that I think has to develop over time. And I think that we're seeing SJM try to figure it out because she gets really, really good at it later in her series and in her writing.
We'll see, because I remember very specifically one of the memories I have back in the day of it was, why can't I just get through this point of view? I'm so bored of this point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get through it.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think she made choices that if future her or like current her was to go back and rewrite it, she wouldn't make the same choices.
Yeah.
I think that she was trying to figure out the craft of what does or does not get included. Like what's important to have in the POV, what's important or it can be left off page. I don't think she found the balance in Heir of Fire. I think she figures it out in her later books.
I'm sure she does. I have no memory of her figuring it out, but I'm sure she does. I have faith in her. Okay, I'm going to read another one. This one is from Jojas. Regarding the thoughts on Heir of Fire. I started writing you on the messages, but it was too short. I was saying that I really liked Heir of Fire when I first read it, so much so that I reread that after Kingdom of Ash and also Queen of Shadows. For me, this feels like the real beginning of Throne of Glass. You finally know what has been hidden the previous two books, and you get Manon too. I'm a sucker for training montage, and this filled the training book hole in my chest I didn't know I had. However, I am curious of giving it another read after your episodes because I was gobbling up all the Rowan scenes without realizing that indeed they were forced, at least at the beginning, and I had no reason to like Rowan as I don't hate Kale. I do believe Tower of Dawn is also one of the best books in the series, and I wasn't even spoiled before reading this, so I didn't know anything about the Birdman. That's funny.
Yeah, I do think if you like a training montage, this is a good book. I do not like training montages.
I don't like training.
I understand why they are necessary. I don't love that it was a whole book. That is a personal preference. And if your personal preference is you love a training montage, great, this is the book for you. I agree. Tower of Dawn is an excellent book. I knew nothing about it before I read Heir of Fire. I had no reason to hate Kale. I remember going through this series for the first time being like, I know Kale gets a lot of hate, but I don't understand why. So I had no reason to like Rowan. And honestly, I didn't. I probably didn't really like him till Empire of Storms, if I remember correctly. And that's okay. Not everybody has to like these characters the first time they read the book.
I know, it is funny. I do appreciate kind of like what this listener was saying, where it's like, sometimes we like a vibe and we go with the vibe. I go with the vibe. Have you guys heard me recite my love for Blood of Hercules? The Blood of Hercules.
Yeah, that book is a vibe.
No one can stop me with that vibe, right? And, power to you. Love the vibe. I don't know what I feel about training montages. I don't think I have a preference on if I do or don't.
It's really unfortunate because Silver Flames is a training montage.
Yeah, why do you like it then?
I identify with Nesta. That's why I like it.
Yeah, I think it's just when it comes to characters that we love, like Rowan or other characters like Reese, people had feelings about Reese and stuff, or Cassian and Azriel. I think people will forget some of the earlier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's what this reader said or listener said or anything like that, but it's just like, we walk away with this like warm, fuzzy feeling. And,
Yeah.
That comes from a product of the whole book. And it's hard when we're going through things line by line, chapter by chapter. I remember in Throne of Glass, we were commenting on Dorian and someone was like, well, in book 3, he does this, this, and this. And I was like, great, we're not there yet. We're analyzing this moment in this scene, in this chapter, in this book.
With no other context.
With the only context being the previous books.
Yeah. Yeah, the
we
previous
have
chapters.
We have to go into this with zero context of what's happened. What's like, what does this person become?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I read the Throne of Glass series, by the end, I was convinced Aelin was the best FMC SJM had ever written.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way after the first 3 books.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't. I don't feel that way. I think Feyre and Bryce still kill it compared to Aelin. I can guarantee if we continue to analyze the rest of this series,
When
we continue to analyze the rest of this series, by the end of it, I will be back on board that Aelin is the best written FMC.
Yeah. We take it chapter by chapter, kiss by kiss, book by book. It's, and I think that's also hard, is that listeners are coming from it with a larger context of everything. And you and I are focused on a more smaller scale, which you have to do in order to do the type of analysis that we're doing. We're doing a smaller scale analysis focused. When you're coming in with the context of all the books, just, fair, you can absolutely come in with the context of all the books, but just know that it's a different conversation now.
Right. And I think the other thing, what we've never done
is read ahead.
Read ahead.
Yeah.
We've never read ahead. So like our breadcrumbs are all from memory or from what people point out to us. And which is why we're going to miss things or we're going to get things wrong. But it's so that we don't taint the analysis of the current book. And other people might have the opinion, you know what, you should analyze all 8 books before you even start recording.
And that's a version that you can absolutely do. Not on this podcast.
Somebody else can do that. Somebody else.
Not you won't get that from here. There's a reason why any other podcasts that have tackled this book or will try to tackle this book don't do what we do. We did 10 episodes. We've done 30 episodes, not including Breadcrumbs and Broomsticks. So in this season alone, we've done 20 episodes talking about one book. I'm not giving us credit or anything like that. I'm just talking about the attention to hyper focused on one thing at a time. I don't know what every single podcast that's ever done, so maybe there is a podcast that does it. But whenever I have seen other podcasts, it goes by a lot faster. It's not the 10 episodes. It's not 2.5 hours to one episode, part 1, discussing something. I mean, there's a reason why. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. The episodes got longer this season, the longer it went on. Like the first couple episodes were like, dude, did we just knock that out in an hour and a half? Wow, this could be the easiest season ever.
It was not.
But the reason why it got longer is because her writing got richer.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if y'all remember the slog that was the Crescent City seasons, those episodes were fucking long.
Anyone who's like listening to this and they've never done the Crescent City, we're like, don't do it. Don't do it.
It was laborious for us.
Yeah.
And maybe the listeners love it. I don't know.
I don't think anyone has said that's my favorite series.
No.
Season.
Or the favorite season. Not at all.
No.
It wasn't our favorite either. And I think.
Honestly, don't listen to it. We don't recommend it.
Honestly, we don't. There's a reason why they were so long. It was very rich. There's a reason why we don't recommend listening to it. Because it's a fucking lot to get through.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many more comments that we should probably save for another listener episode.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to do more listener thoughts after this week. Next week is going to be all listener thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the DMs that we haven't even gone through.
Yeah. We can do those for listener thoughts.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just going to have a lot to pin.
Yeah.
I have a lot to pin with this. Let's see if there's anything within recent.
I'll go through and screenshot them and put them in a document so we have them.
Okay, one last one from Milika.
Okay.
She says, this book has always felt incomplete and is my least favorite in the series. The explanation about the flaws of multiple point of views made me understand why everything feels rushed, as we don't spend enough time with any of the characters. The analysis confirmed my issue with Aelin and Rowan's relationship. A lot of important development is skilled, which makes Rowan feel underdeveloped. I think SJM leans too much on having her FMCs move on from one love interest by falling in love with another. We hadn't talked about that.
Oh, geez.
And I feel like the conflict between Aelin and Kale in Queen of Shadow could have worked without Rowan. She rushed their relationship too much, and neither it nor Rowan as a character ever fully recovered from me, and I just never got invested. Also, the alcohol abuse felt too random, so you guys confirm that too. I think that's you know what? We're like, let's wrap this up. Not fucking now. I think that's an interesting concept that none of her SJM characters are single for long, except for Bryce, who is a nice single party girl. But, when you look at Farah, when you look at Aelin,
they fall in love, they move on. And they're not single.
Nope. And you can argue that Farah and Reese were friends before. No, they weren't. No, he knew they were mates. Like, yes, they've developed some kind of relationship before, the first move, but don't play that game with me, please.
It was all under false pretenses.
It was all under false pretenses. As someone who walked away from Crown of Midnight, being like, things with Kale could still work out.
Mm-hmm.
Now knowing and having read Heir of Fire, you can see Kale working things out in his head, understanding why, Selena and him couldn't have worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have that, but both of them at the end of Heir of Fire aren't ready to let go.
Yeah.
Aelin says that there's still words that need to be said.
Mm-hmm.
Kale has some things that, he still can't let go of the amulet. Just because both of them have moved on in ways, they make it very clear at the end of Fire that neither of them have fully moved on.
Yeah.
And that is hard when you add another potential love interest.
Yeah, I agree. And, as the author, maybe SJM is trying to convince us they're just Karanom, right? They will fall in love because they're mates, but they don't understand that yet. And so it is truly platonic because they don't understand the extent of their feelings. Maybe. As a reader, it reads like it's supposed to be a love story, that it's the beginning of a love story. And you ended Crown of Midnight with Kale about to say, I love you.
Yeah.
You ended, actually, does he say I love you? No, she stops him, right?
Yeah.
And she breaks down, right? Because it's too little too late. I don't think that's the kind of thing you get over in 3 months. And granted, they both haven't.
Yeah.
I personally would have appreciated for them to resolve their stuff before Aelin moved on.
I remember when we were in Crown of Midnight, we were talking about Heir of Fire, and you said something of, yeah, I think Rowan, from what I remember, Rowan and Aelin end pretty platonic. And then someone commented, they shared a bed. There was nothing platonic. And, having read this book, yeah, there is nothing platonic. There is nothing about it that's like, just carrying on. You know what I mean? Like, if she wanted us to be more conflicted with the, Rowan's not a love interest, it's a carrying on thing.
Yeah.
Then stop having them share a bed with each other.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason why I'm conflicted, I think they're both still conflicted, right? They both obviously have feelings. They don't know how, or they're not ready to put words to it.
And then to add that on top of Kale and those, I'm not against drama or messy. I love it, but I can also see where that ends up being really hard for someone who was pro Kale. Because again, at this point, I genuinely don't think that there's anything that he's done that a reader could be like unforgivable, even with the whole Nehemia thing. Like, I think she was a little dramatic. No, obviously not. Like, her friend died, but it's not like he betrayed her.
Right. They just ultimately weren't incompatible.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear someone being like, he didn't betray. He sided with the crown. He did. At the end, Kale sided with the crown, and Heir of Fire is his mistake. In Heir of Fire, it was, you have now learned at this point, you have gone through 2 books. You are in your 3rd book, my man. This is when you should have broken away. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mid Crown of Midnight, I think it's reasonable as a character that he hadn't broken away yet. He hadn't had the evidence that he fully needed to have. While he still had context, yes, but it makes sense that he hadn't broken away yet.
I think also with Kale, I can never, I don't know how one,
It's the same. We're saying the same thing. Kale and Kale.
I don't know how to say it in 2 syllables. If you learn nothing from Crown of Midnight, what we should walk away with is Kale constantly does too little too late.
Yeah.
And it is not surprising that that continues to play out in Heir of Fire. And I'm sure to some extent, probably Queen of Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
That's his journey.
Yep.
And I don't blame him for it. I understand being on the fence.
Yeah. I mean, if we're able to forgive Selena Ayland for being a 19-year-old, we can forgive Kale for being a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
We can't forgive Rowan for being 200 and something.
Or 1,000 or however old he is.
I think he's only like 300 or less than 300.
Well, his mate died 200 and something years ago.
Yeah.
Are we looking this up now?
How old is Rowan Whitehorn? Oh, Whitethorn. Oops. Okay, well over 300 years. Potentially 350, maybe even 500. So we don't know his age. Yeah, you're right. He's too old. He's too fucking old. I feel when I'm with a bunch of like 25, 23-year-olds, yes, I'm like a sleeper cell. They don't realize like I'm older than them because they're like, wait a minute, you both look young and you're speaking my language. And I'm like, yes, I am. You will never know my age. However, internally, I'm like, y'all are too young. Like, I am so tired.
Yep. Babies.
All right, let's sign off. And next time, we'll be talking Silver Flames, unless we change our mind from this to next time. Thanks for listening to this season of Book Talk for Book Talk with Jac and Amy. Next week, we'll be discussing more listener thoughts about our Heir of Fire season.
If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps other readers find us. And of course, we'd love to hear what you thought of today's episode. Share your comments through our form at booktalkforbooktalk.com, and we might feature your feedback in a future mini episode or a Patreon exclusive episode.
For merch and more ways to support the show, head to booktalkforbooktalk.com. You can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at the handle BookTalkForBookTalk. And don't forget to join us by subscribing to the Subtext Society Journal.substack.com to get more insights into the romantasy and romance world. Bye. I am traveling to visit my mom in Kentucky for Christmas, and then I'm going to Montana with you, Amy. My routine is completely thrown off, but there's one thing that I am maintaining, and that's Ritual.
Ritual is an obsessively researched multivitamin. Their essential multis have the nutrients most of us don't get enough from our food, especially me, all in their clean and absorbable forms. There's no shady additives or ingredients that do more harm than good.
I'm currently taking their Essentials for Women 18 Plus, which contains 9 key nutrients in 2 delayed release capsules designed for optimal absorption per day.
We take their Symbiotic Plus Gut Health every evening before bed, and that minty freshness actually is like a little treat before I go to sleep.
Get to go to bed fresh. Ritual's Essential third-party tested for heavy metals and clean label project certified.
Their products are HSA, FSA eligible with a seamless checkout experience, so you can even save when you shop with your pre-tax dollars.
Instead of striving for perfect health, aim for supportive foundational health.
Our listeners get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/booktalk.
That's ritual.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, for 25% off your first month.
One of the things that was really hard to learn about banking as a young 20-something was how to avoid overdraft fees and building enough credit to actually have a credit card. There are so many ways Chime is making banking stress-free. They don't charge you fees for banking with them, and they provide you overdraft coverage. And on top of that, you can build credit without the worry about a regular credit card.
There's a reason why Chime is rated 5 stars by USA Today for customer service, because they offer real humans 24/7. I can't tell you the amount of times I have called my bank crying because I cannot stop talking to the robot who cannot help me.
I personally feel like every 20-something-year-old out there needs a Chime card. It's a great way to build credit history with your own money that you're actually earning, and you get rewarded every day.
And for those of us who might not be 20-something, still highly recommend it because of the no annual fees, no interest, no strings attached. And when you qualify for direct deposits, you get 1.5% cash back on eligible Chime card purchases. That's good for anyone.
It's good for everyone.
Chime is not just smarter banking. It is the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today.
It just takes a few minutes to sign up. Head to chime.com/booktalk, BookTalk.
That's chime.com/booktalk.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services, a secured Chime Visa credit card, and MyPay line of credit provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. MyPay eligibility requirements apply, and credit limit ranges $20 to $500. Optional services and products may have fees or charges. See chime.com/fees info. Advertised annual percentage yield with Chime Plus status only. Otherwise, 1.00% APY applies. No min balance required. Chime card on-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score. Results may vary. See chime.com for details and applicable terms.
I firmly believe in new year, new me, and that requires a wardrobe change.
It's actually cold in California. I am so excited because Quince has all of our staples covered. From soft Mongolian cashmere sweaters that feel like designer pieces without the markup, to 100% silk tops and skirts for easy dressing up, to perfectly cut denims for everyday wear.
I purposefully gave my partner my wool coat so I can get a Quince Italian wool coat because they are gorgeous. They're beautifully tailored, they're soft to the touch, and they're built to last years, not just one season.
That's because the quality shows in every detail. You can seriously tell with the stitch, with the fit, with the fabric. Every piece is thoughtfully designed.
Like everything from Quince, each piece is made with premium materials in ethical, trusted factories, which I love. Each piece is priced far below the cost of other luxury brands.
Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/booktalk for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada.
That's QUINCE.com/booktalk, BOOKTALK, to get free shipping and 365 days returns.